Hi, in the following lectures, I am going to give you an introduction about bioinformatics. As the name implies, bioinformatics is a combination of biology and informatics. In bioinformatics, we are using computation technology and the information technology for the better understanding of biological phenomena. So, bioinformatics is basically the use of computers or information technology for acquisition, management, and analysis of biological data. It incorporates molecular biology, computational biology, statistics, database computing, artificial intelligence, internet, etc. It's truly a multidisciplinary area of study. So, in bioinformatics, we are using biological data. The biological data can be a sequence data of a DNA, RNA, or protein. Maybe it's a structural data. We know the secondary structure and tertiary and a quaternary structure of protein, and RNA is used to have secondary structures. So it may be a structural data, sequence data, or it's a functional data. And there is a relationship between this structure, function, and sequence. So we can say the structure of a biological macromolecule, especially the protein, is determined by the sequence, and the function of a protein is determined by its structure. So sequence leads to actually determining the structure of a protein, and structure is actually determining the function of a protein. So there is a relationship between these three: sequence, structure, and function. And this biological data can be a sequence data of a protein, DNA, or RNA, maybe structure of a protein or RNA or DNA. So this structural data can be stored, retrieved, organized, or analyzed using bioinformatics. Bioinformatics involves the technology that uses computers for storage, retrieval, manipulation, and distribution of information related to biological macromolecules such as DNA, RNA, and protein. So what we need to do, we need to store the data, and whenever we need it, we have to retrieve it, we need to manipulate, and we need to distribute this uh, informations. And in bioinformatics, we use computers for the better understanding of biology, and it is subfield of computational biology. When we say computational biology, there is which is a huge umbrella, which include the modeling, ecotronics, ecological studies, and so many other things. But in bioinformatics, we are actually focused only on sequence, structure, and functional information of genes and genome, maybe the macromolecules, especially one in the molecular biology, DNA, RNA, and protein, and things related to it. We are not uh, applying the bioinformatics in an organism level or in a population level or ecological level. That studies all come under computational biology. But in bioinformatics, we are studying sequence, structure, and function of macromolecules. These macromolecules include mainly DNA, RNA, and protein. So, anything related to structure, function, and sequence of DNA, RNA, and protein using computers come under bioinformatics. So the bioinformatics, what we need to do, we have the biological information, and analysis of biological information needs statistical tools. But if it is a huge information like a human genome sequence, or if you want to compare human genome sequence of 1,000 individuals, we cannot actually do it manually. We need the help of computers. So the bioinformatics is a combination of, or the multidisciplinary approach between biology, statistics, and computers. So we are taking the biological data or biological information in the time of sequence, structure, or function of macromolecule, and we are doing the statistical analysis on them using computers. That is bioinformatics. The bioinformatics has two different parts. One is developmental part, another is application part. So in order to have the application part, we need to develop it first. Development include two different stages. One is the making softwares or writing softwares for analyzing biological data, and constructing and curating of biological databases. So, as I said before, we know the sequence is depending on like the structure of a macromolecule is depending on the sequence, and we know that the protein sequence we have the alpha helix and the beta sheets. In order to have an alpha helix, there should be a specific arrangement of amino acids. Then only we will get a alpha helix. So that's a sequence of a protein actually determining the secondary structure. So in order to make it useful, we need to analyze the common pattern occurring in alpha helix. So if you already know what is the pattern of an alpha helix or sequence pattern of an alpha helix, we can actually use this information to predict, or if you get a novel protein, we can actually see that whether it is having an alpha helix or beta sheet, such type of secondary structures based on the structure of protein or arrangement of the amino acids within a protein. So if the computers or the system is already trained in such a way that it know almost all secondary structures and underlying sequences, if you get a new sequence, it can actually predict which secondary structure it is going to have because it is already trained. So that's in the development part. First we need to make the software and we need to have the biological databases, and secondly we have an application part. Once we have everything in place, the software and the database, we can use it for molecular sequence analysis, molecular structure analysis, and molecular functional analysis. If you get a new novel DNA sequence, we can actually predict which RNA it is going to make, okay, based on the structure of presence of a promoter and terminators like sequences. We can predict what is the RNA is going to produce, and based on the translation sequences, we can predict what type of protein it is going to predict, and based on the structure sequence of a protein, we can predict the structure of the protein. Based on the structure, we can predict the function of the protein. That's how it's going to work. But as we go up, it will become more and more complicated. So this is a representation. The base or the foundation for bioinformatics is software development and the database construction and curation. Once we've done that, we can go for structural analysis, sequence analysis, and functional analysis. And the major part, the major application part of a bioinformatics include prediction of and pattern recognition. How to predict a RNA molecule out of a genome? When we first have the human genome sequenced, the 3 billion base pairs, we have discovered so many novel genes which was unknown to us, because we know the common features of a gene. It will have a promoter and it will have a like ribosome binding sequence like region. It will have the termination sequence. It will have a start codon. It will have a stop codon. In between it will produce coding region which is interrupted by introns and exons. We know the common features of an intron and the common features of an exon. So based on that, we can actually predict the protein it is going to produce. So this pattern recognition and prediction are very much related. If we are able to predict or recognize the pattern in nucleic acid or in a protein, we can actually predict what it is going to make. So for example, take this sequence. If you see this sequence, this is a DNA sequence. uh, we cannot actually make anything out of it, but as we know the sequence of a promoter here, the one which is labeled with the cyan, uh, this is a minus 10 element, minus 35 element, and other enhancing elements. So these elements we already know in this particular organism, it is associated with the promoter sequence. So if we see a sequence in the same case, like we can predict that it is a promoter and there is going to be a translation from this one, okay, and this yellow one is commonly associated with enhancers. So how do I know this cyan colored one is a promoter and this yellow colored one is a enhancer? That's by the experiments. We already done so many experiments in that, and we already understood that what is the common sequence which presents in a promoter. So the common sequence is very much similar to the one which is marked in cyan color. And what is the common sequence of an enhancer, so which is very much similar to the yellow one. So once we know that what is the common structure of the common pattern of a promoter, we can actually predict it in different regions. Or if we know the common sequence of a DNA which is binding to an enhancer, we can predict which region of DNA is going to bind to an enhancer. So like that we can make so many predictions based on the pattern recognition. So what I would like to say, the pattern recognition and the prediction are very much related. Once we are able to identify the pattern, we can actually make prediction based on that. So here is one other example. This is the sequence. This is a protein sequence. This protein sequence, based on our current understanding, we know that some areas of this protein sequence is going to make the alpha helix and some other regions are going to make the beta sheets. So as we already know this, we can actually predict the structure of the protein. We can predict the secondary structure, tertiary structure, and even the quaternary structure of the protein. And once we know the structure of the protein, we already know which the composition of the active site. So we can actually predict the function of that protein. Maybe it's an enzyme which is coding for some pathways, enzymatic pathways or catalysis. We can actually predict the protein. Maybe we can predict the interaction of this protein with other protein, because we already know which motifs are going to interact with each other. So like that the bioinformatics works. So to the bioinformatics to be functional, there should be a development part. That means we should already train the software to understand which sequence is associated with the promoter, or which sequence is associated with the enhancer, or what primary sequence of a protein is making a beta sheet or an alpha helix. And if we made that predictions training, the software can actually predict. If you get a novel nucleic acid, it can predict what are the possible promoter region, or what are the, if you get a protein sequence, it can predict what secondary structure and what tertiary structure it is going to make. So that's how the whole bioinformatics works. So the pattern recognition is the process of efficiently detecting any pattern or regularities within a given database. So in a database, it is trying to detect patterns or regularities in a sequence. It involves analysis, interpretation, and prediction. So once we know the pattern, we can actually predict what it is going to make. And the biomolecular sequence, DNA, RNA, and the protein sequence form and structural form contain different patterns and different clues for its function. One common example for this one is the helix turn helix of DNA binding protein. So let me show an example. This is a protein sequence of a gene called MECP2, and this all of these proteins, which is isolated from Homo sapiens, mice, etc., all of them, you can see a RGRP region. RGRP, it's a protein sequence, it's a single letter code. So this RGRP region is known as AT hook. AT is adenine tyrosine. If a protein is having this AT hook, what happens, it is go and bind to the groove of a DNA which is rich in adenine and tyrosine. So it's a DNA binding protein. So if you get this protein, we can, and if you see this RGRP sequence in a protein, you can actually predict that with some confidence, like this protein is going to bind to a DNA. If you get a novel protein, if you don't know anything about it, just go and sequence it, and by comparing with the existing protein, we can see that whether it is going to bind to DNA, whether it is going to integrate into the plasma membrane. So the experiment or the studying the protein will become more easier. If I tell you a current example, if we have, once we have the corona situation, if you get a novel protein of the coronavirus, what we do, we go and sequence that one. Once we have the sequence, we can predict the secondary structure, then tertiary structure, then we can predict the function. How we are predicting? Because we already know the structures associated with the function and the sequence associated with the structure. So like that we are predicting. In this example, we are predicting an AT hook in some proteins, and this proteins are going to bind to the DNA. So the pattern recognition is extensively used for high throughput analysis of proteins. So if you sequence a whole genome, we can actually analyze the genome to see that how many proteins it is going to produce, and we can hypothetically create RNA out of it. From the RNA we can produce proteins out of it, hypothetically make proteins out of it, and these proteins we can make the structures and we can make the function. So it is very much crucial for analyzing the homology, mutation, conserved region, and evolutionary patterns. So this type of data is analyzing not only from the sequencing, it's also originated from the structural analysis, it's originated from the microarray data, which is including the expression of many genes, and phylogenetic studies, clinical data, and drug discovery. And all this data we can use the bioinformatics tools to make uh, pattern recognition and a prediction about the characteristics of this proteins or DNA. There are different methods used for pattern recognition, and these methods methods are combinations of mathematics, statistics, heuristic, and inductive algorithms. So these methods can be broadly classified into two: parametric process and non-parametric process. In parametric process, data is summarized by a set of parameters. We will give some parameters or features for the classification or identification of the data. Those type of algorithms or programs is called a parametric process. In non-parametric process, we are not giving any parameters. We have the raw data, and based on the properties of this current data in our hand, we will do the classification and clustering. So those are the two different methods: parametric and non-parametric process. And this is a common or the common steps in pattern recognition. So the first step is a measurement device. We will get the data from the measurement device. This device can be a DNA sequencing machine, or maybe a microarray analysis, or anything. Then after the getting the data, we will go for the pre-processing, then the representation. After representation, the data is divided into two: one is test set and training set. For the training set, we know the sequence of the data, and we know the features of the data. Okay, so that's for training the software. So through software, from the training, the software will understand what sequence is going to make what structure, or what structure is going to make what function. So this training set, we know the sequence, and we already know the sequence, and we know the features, and we know the function. For the test set, we don't know the function, we only know the sequence. So the training set is used to train the software, and test set is actually used to find the novel functions. So once the training, during the training, there will be a feature selection step, then classifier and evaluation. Once the training is done, we can use the test set to see that what pattern recognition or prediction can be made from the test. So here is an example of the pattern recognition. In this case, they have used the micro array scanner data, and the pre-processing stage they have removed the background and normalized the data. Then in the representation, probe set is summarization is done. Then in the training set, we have done the marker gene selection, support vector classifier, and the prediction error measurement. Once the prediction error measurement is done, we can actually use a microarray to predict whether it is associated with a disease, or whether it is associated with any other conditions. So that's why how we do the pattern recognition and the prediction. Thank you.